The model I'm going to review this month is the Rail Freight liveried Class 58 from Helgen. These were exclusively made for Olivia's trains, but I can see on the Hattons website that you can also get them there as well. There's a range of them produced from this livery into sector liveries, etc. A little bit of history on the actual Class 58. 50 of them were built between 1982 and 1987. 58001 was the first of the class, and it was handed over in December 82, with the delivery of the remaining 49 following up to March 87, and they're all constructed at Doncaster Works by BREL. They were synonymous with hauling coal traffic throughout the Midlands, but the influx of the General Motors traction at the end of the 20th century kind of heralded the demise of the Class 58s, and all having been withdrawn by 2002. Since then, the majority of the class have been used on the continent, operating trains in Holland, Spain and France. By 2010, the remaining engines in the UK were facing an uncertain future, with many of them having been heavily stripped down and scrapped for spares, basically. The loco in front of you here is number 58036, and it was withdrawn in March 2000, and it's been exported to France, where it worked until 2009. It's now in storage in France. With the building of the first few Class 58s underway in 1982, British Railways' own sectorisation programme came to light. Therefore, it was decided that new, more modern class of locomotive, the 58, would not emerge in the corporate blue as is previous classes such as the 56, but it'd be have the new Rail Freight livery applied as seen in front of you here. It was the job of the BR design panel, in conjunction with the freight director in Derby, to design a new livery to represent the perceived new identity for rail freight. As it turned out, the mid-grey body was decided upon simply because it could be applied not only to the 58s, but the scope could be widened, and each and every class of locomotive could be painted in this colour to make them uniform without any discrepancies. The BR design panel now turned their attention to the cabs after they've decided on the grey body. Whilst it was mandatory to have the yellow front ends, as seen here on this loco and on every other loco, to help with visibility on approaching trains from track workers and lineside workers working near the railway, it was also decided to give the cabs the full treatment of yellow paint. Not only does it improve the look of the new image, but in practice in the collieries where the 58s were working hard on coal traffic, the full yellow ends did improve visibility to workers with all the coal dust etc. flying around. Adding a large white BR double yellow logo to the full height of the body side was Rail Freight's own version of the large logo livery, which is seen in BR blue as well as this Rail Freight grey. A radical decision was made by the BR design panel that it would also have the name of the business as Rail Freight applied to the side of the cabs. Prior to this date, no British Railway locomotive in the diesel fleet had ever had this done. Although locomotives had the BR emblem applied, they never had any wording applied as part of the overall livery, which was another first for the Class 58s. The success of the new Rail Freight livery was so outstanding that the livery was soon applied to other diesel locomotives classes, including the 20s, 26s, 31s, 37s, 47s and 56. So to summarise the livery we've got in front of us here, we've got the standard, what they call aircraft grey body, the red underframe, the wraparound yellow cabs, the black window frames, the Rail Freight logo on the cab of the second man's side, which in this case is down this end of the loco, which you'll see, which was a red panel with white outline with white font. The large identification number on the other end of the locomotive, and the double white arrow BR symbol there. This model also has the orange cantrail stripe, and these were applied to numbers 35 to 50, which wore these. The previous ones didn't have this cantrail from new. The class were nicknamed Bones by enthusiasts, as the outline of the loco when looked from above resembled the shape of a bone shape. So if I could maybe just up here like that, it's got the two thickened ends with the slimmer body, so they resembled a generic bone shape. The class is now largely absent from the UK rail network. As I've said, it's been withdrawn, stripped for spares, scrapped or exported to the continent. It was a relatively short-lived class compared to the other classes such as 37, 47 and 56, which all had considerably more successful and long working careers in the UK. Okay, let's turn our attention to the actual model. Helgen locomotives run very well, and this one's no exception. The motors in the Helgen products are super quiet, super smooth and really powerful, and the 58 is no exception. I've got another couple of Helgen locos on the layout, the 26 and 27, and again they are very well powered, and they can haul long rakes of coaches or freight, and they're super smooth. They really are. Probably one of the best motors you can get. Hornby's class 50s and 56s are up there with the Helgen motors as well, but these are really good. The loco itself, the removal of the body, I know some locos such as the Bachmann ones are all screwed bodies, they're screwed to the chassis underneath. This one's just clipped on, so it's a quick removal of the body. I'm not going to do that just now because it's quite tight to get the decoder put back in. The problem with that is I've got a wee bit of warping in the body. The sole bar here kind of has a wee bit of give in it at times, because it's not screwed down and it's not kind of drawn into the chassis. It can flex out a little bit. I'm talking, minuscule here, but it's enough to make you wonder why they've not applied a couple of screws just to kind of draw the body into the chassis. The bogies have been problematic on this particular model. The middle wheel has a bit of lateral give in it, and sometimes it doesn't sit well on the rails, and especially if you've got a complex set of turnouts or diamond crossovers, it can derail. So you've got to make sure that they're as tight as they can be. There's a wee bit of adjustment that you can do, but just beware that there is a bit of flex. If I turn it upside down, there is quite a bit of flex back and forward on the middle, because they're not powered. Okay, so they've got pickups on them, but you've just got to watch when you put the loco on the rails that they are actually sitting with their flanges correctly on the rail head. This particular loco also had problems with the pickups. It arrived with loose connections, which meant one whole set of wheels on a bogie wasn't picking up, which meant it stalled over turnouts, complex turnouts or diamond crossings, which are insular frog, they're not electrofrog. So I had to send it back to Livis to get repaired. I wasn't thinking about with a brand new loco, I shouldn't have to. My original loco that I did get, this is the second one, had a cracked cab curved roof here, which obviously damaged during transit or production, so that had to get sent back. So this was my second loco, and then it had to get sent back obviously for pickup issues as well. The loco itself is very well detailed. I'm really impressed with the actual buffer beam detail here. It all comes fitted with the hoses and pipes and couplings from the factory. The only thing I will say is these little details here are very prone to bending and snapping. I've not snapped one off yet, but I've bent one round. They're easy to bend back, and I suppose just stick on with a wee bit of super glue as well. Individually fitted handrails are a nice touch, picked out in the correct white. And as I said in my review of the loco itself, this one has the orange cantrail fitted. Nice fine etched grille detail there. And as we go to the number 2 end, where I've got the coupling, it's got the rail freight logo on this end and the same high detail that the number 1 end has. These little handrails here I've got where my brush is now, they have a little central connection to the body, and it just snaps off. As you can probably see, it's so fragile. See, there are two at each end. You've got the one there and there, but this one here is missing, so it's flexible slightly, but that's, you know, a minor issue. They arrived like that. I can imagine it'd be quite easy to break these when putting it in the packaging. So overall, I'm impressed with the 58. I've had it for a while. It does haul my coal hoppers and some, you know, rail freight liveried box vans, etc. It's not a regular appearer on the layout. It's not quite in the you know, the not the era, but the region that I'm modelling. They did appear from time to time, obviously, in Scotland with the colliery traffic, but you know, I quite liked the livery. Didn't have a rail freight grey on the layout, and this one came up. It was £125 at the time. Don't know if it's gone up in price since then. Manufacturers seem to be using any excuse they can to stick the prices up now, including the exchange rate. So I'm assuming that these are already in stock with Olivia's. They won't have put the price up, but you know, you'd have to check that out if they're still available. So overall, yes, I'm happy with the loco. I'll give you a wee running session now with bits and pieces of the loco in action, along with other locos, including some other Helgen locos that I've got, and I hope you enjoy it.